Hi. Um, First off, we'll address the elephant in the room, or rather the elephant that is the room. If you've been following me, you might not be expecting to see me in this room. This looks an awful lot, not very much like Wales. It's not. I am home. So, more on that at the end if you're interested. But yes, I'm home. So, long story, very short. I have a ton to talk about since it's been over 2 months since my last video because of all of that long story. So buckle up, Buttercup. We're gonna be here a while. I actually made notes for a change, and there's a whole page of them, stuff I want to talk about. The stack of books I need to talk about is up to here. I think I counted there's like 17 of them. It's chaotic over here. It's probably going to get noisy because the dogs are barking at everything right now. And I ordered food that should be here at some point. So they will probably bark even more when that happens. Apologies in advance, but dog's gonna dog, you know? And that's more of my life updates later. I'm happy dogs are gonna dog because it beats the alternative. So first off, it's been a while, so I actually did manage to get a couple of things finished. The first one that I finished is actually an FFO. It was an SNF FFO, start and finish, fully finished object. And that was because I was doing a secret spook with a group of stitchy friends, and this is what I made. This was Autumn Lane's, I think it was called Spooky Stroll. I don't remember. I'm sure that I'll put the name up here somewhere. It was in the most recent Halloween box, which I think was 2 years ago. And the entire thing was from that. It was the frame, the stand, the kit, the beads, everything that I needed for that. It was done on perforated paper with the material provided in the kit. And of course, you're going to start chewing on that bone as soon as I start recording. Life with dog. So that was my fully finished object. I had to wait until now to reveal it because I wanted to make sure that my Stitchy recipient, which was Jo, Stitchy Cat Lady, didn't see it before she got to open it. So there it is, all done. Yeah, and then I have one other finish. I finished another square on my someday going to be a quilt, and these are done with the Tiny Modernist Words to Remember Sal series from a few years ago. This was number 7. I have 6 left, so we have officially passed the halfway point. Once I wrap them up, then I'll start looking for someone to, someone to make them into a quilt for me, because after I've put all this work in stitching, I don't want to wreck it with my first quilt and have it be a total mess. But here we are. It is. Success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. And these are all done on the same. It's 16 count, plain black from Vichelt. And like I said, that is number 7 of 13. So we're moving along on those slowly but surely. Current projects. I only have a few I've worked on. I have a lot of time right now, but actually I feel like that's actually worse sometimes. Because I'm not having to manage my time, and so I'm ending up doom scrolling a lot and just not getting stuff done. But more on that in life updates. And now she has moved closer with the bone. She was way over in the corner, and now she has moved so she's directly behind the camera. So if you can hear my dog chewing on her bone, I'm sorry. Dog gonna dog. Current projects. I did a little bit of work mostly while I was in Wales, actually completely when I was in Wales on this one. This is the Walk Fast Sampler by Lindy Stitches. I am doing this on 16 Count All the Things by Mystic Fabrics, and it is the called for colors, which are, I think, mostly Classic Colorworks. There might be a Gentle Art in there somewhere. And the last time I showed it to you, here's what it looked like. And I didn't do a ton on it, but I did get some done. I got the first page finished and started a little bit on the second one. So here's where it's at right now. And yeah, then it kind of just got shoved into a corner while I was unpacking, and I haven't really looked at it since. But I will get back to it. I also wanted to work on some Halloween stuff, so I had set it aside to specifically work on some Halloween stuff. More on that in a moment. In fact, more on that right now. So the first thing that I worked on after I got back, and I put in most of my stitchy time on this, this and my finish, my quilt square finish. This is The Haunted Library by Lola Crow. I am doing this one on 16 Count Brain Fog by Mystic Fabrics. And the last time I showed it to you, here is where I was. And this one I actually got quite a bit done on. I got about over 1,000 stitches done on this one. So here's where it's at right now. And I was making good time, and then I came to a screeching halt because the Headless Horseman here, he is one stitch too far to the left. And I don't know yet if I can fudge around him to make it work. Like in this area, I know I can because these are just books, and so I'll take the extra book that was over here and move it over here. But as for, I don't know what the rest of the shelf is, what the rest of the area under the balcony is. So I kind of got disgusted with myself and put it up. But what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in and start working on the page underneath it and kind of work my way up and around him and see what it's looking like, and if I think I'll be able to fudge it, or if I'm gonna have to go back in and frog all of those stitches, which I really don't want to do. But doesn't it look so cool? I love this one. I really just wish I could actually count, because this is not the first counting mistake I've made on it. But so I worked on it, and then I kind of set it aside because, you know, if you don't look at that big mistake, then it didn't happen, right? Until the next time you pick it up, and then you realize it did, and you're like, ugh. Okay. So then I worked on two things that I'm actively working on. The first one is Books Are Magic. This is by Counting Puddles. And I had started this one a while ago. Oh, what did I do with it? 1 second. I know it's here someplace. Okay, I had started this one a while ago. I was doing it on 16 Count Boneyard from Bee Stitch Me, and I wasn't feeling, I love this fabric. Isn't it gorgeous? But as I started stitching, I wasn't feeling the way that it looked on the fabric. Well, of course, on the screen here, it looks absolutely fine, absolutely fantastic. But in real life, the greens are kind of washed out, and they're hard to see. Well, here you go. Now they look a little bit more washed out. I guess it's when you open the thing and you can see the blue, they pop a little bit more. But anyway, so I wasn't really completely happy about the way that it was going, so I decided to restart it. And I restarted it on a piece of 16 count Nothing from Mystic Fabrics, which is one of my all-time favorite fabrics to work with, because it's not black, but it's not like a pale gray. It's awesome. And so here's where it is at now. And I am much happier with the way this is showing up. Maybe this purple's not showing up as well, but the thing is there will be blue around that. So I think it's still gonna pop pretty well. And the amount of purple is much less than the amount that I was worried about being washed out on the other one. So yeah, I am really happy with it so far and having a lot of fun with this one. That said, I haven't been working on this one very much either, because since I got back so late, I have not yet done my Halloween ornament for the year. So every year I try to do an ornament for my Halloween tree and then an ornament for my Christmas tree, and I haven't done either of them yet. So I am right now working on trying very hard to finish Splat Witch Mill Hill ornament. It's actually supposed to be a magnet, which obviously makes sense because it's supposed to look like it's smashed up against whatever you're sticking it on. I am going to turn it into a Halloween ornament. Here is where I'm at with that. I am really, really close to being done with the stitching. I have one more shoe, and then some of this in here is purple. And the rest are beads, and then all of the rest of it is back stitching and beading. So maybe the next week, maybe the next 2 weeks, just depends on how much time I devote to this versus how much time I devote to other things. But yeah, this is very close to being done. And as I said, I want to do it as an ornament rather than a magnet. So I think what I'm going to do afterwards is I'm going to go to like Michael's or some craft store and try to find like a stick or something that I can glue behind this when I cut it out to make it look like she's run into a tree, and then put the hanger on it and do things that way. So that is what I am working on. Current plans. Who knows? I need to finish. I actually wrote down. I need to finish Splat Witch. I need to start making my Christmas ornaments. I have 2 planned. The one for my own tree, and then I always do one for our family has like a white elephant gift exchange, and I usually stick a handmade ornament in with my white elephant. And then I'm not a big Christmas stitcher. If you've followed me for a while, I don't really do Christmas stitching, but I'm thinking this year I might. I have a couple of things I kind of want to work on. So maybe Christmas stitching from the Grinch. Go figure. Okay, so that is current works and current plans, and if that's all you're here for, then this is where I leave you, and I hope you have a wonderful, I'm hoping for 2 weeks to a month for my next video. So in the meantime, I hope life is wonderful and that I see you again soon. For the rest of you, if you're into haul or you're into life updates or you're into books, I have one more whip, sorry. I forgot because it's not stitching. I have my sock that I'm working on, and you might think, well, that doesn't look much further than where you were the last time we talked, because I think it was about here, but it got smashed in the bottom of my carry-on while I was flying. It got pulled out to the point where I couldn't tell where I was anymore, so I basically had to restart it. So I've restarted, I've gotten past the heel turn, I am working on the foot and the toe, so I've almost got the first sock done. Again, I think this may be Arco Iris. It's a Malabrigo, but I'm not 100% sure of the colorway. I usually, like every time I keep looking at it, I think that no, our iris has more blue in it, and then I'll work on an area that's kind of that's got blue in it, and I'm like, oh, maybe it is. So I don't know. It was one of the first ones I bought when I started knitting again, and I didn't think to save the name of the colorway. So it's Malabrigo Mystery. All right, now I promise I am done talking about current whips. So yeah, let's do haul, let's do life updates, let's do some book reviews. But first, I think I just heard a door, so I am gonna shut this off before the dogs go crazy because the delivery person's almost here. Okay, back. The dogs are eating, so hopefully I spoke too soon. She's already done. Did you eat your medicine? I know she did. She's fine. Okay, so I should probably go check and see if she ate her medicine. She did, just like I knew she did. But of course, if I hadn't checked, she would have not eaten her medicine, and then the other one would have eaten it. So the one who didn't eat it. Okay. Refocus, recenter. That's good. So I've talked about my plans. I have a question. I've been thinking about getting a scroll frame, maybe for some of my full coverage pieces, so that I don't have to worry about moving the Q-snap around. I am lazy, so the idea of basting the stitch to the rods does not appeal to me. So I'm thinking of getting one of the ones with the clamps or the Velcro. Anyone have any experience? Recommendations? I'm thinking maybe a lap stand or something that will attach. Well, I have the attachment for the Lowry for a scroll frame, I think, but I just don't know because it's so big. I'm thinking maybe a lap frame, but yeah, so if you use a scroll frame, thoughts, recommendations, try to talk me into it, try to talk me out of it, let me know, because I don't know. I was at the LNS the other day and I was looking at them and I'm like kind of overwhelmed. So maybe I should ask someone who knows better before I go and do all this. Okay, so before I get into the rest of my haul, I'm gonna go through my secret spook stuff. My secret spook was Morty from Mad Morty and the Brom, and she really spoiled me. So I've got all of this stuff. Let me get it in the frame. Yes. So she gave me, like I said, quite a bit of stuff. I'm not sure how she did this under the spending limit, but so I got some floss. This is a satin, and then a variegated purple, because me and purples. Nice Halloween-y colors. I got actually 3 skeins of floss, but the funny thing is, I think maybe like a day or two before the secret spook, we were talking about pets and getting a hold of floss. So Morty, this is what one of them did to the orange skein that you sent me. And I know you'll get it because pets and floss. They're never interested in it until I think it's safe. And then I got a bunch of finishing stuff. So I got this ribbon. Got a length of this ribbon, and again, the dogs have been helping, but I got this a length of green ribbon, black and orange striped ribbon, black and white tassel, which this was actually used on, part of the secret spook was we each made something for the others. And this was on the piece that she made for me. I got pom-poms. I got a needle minder, and I actually got, I don't see it here, which is disappointing me because I know I brought it over here. But there was a spider web that went with this that was a floss holder. Is really cool. But look, it's all sparkly. Sparkly needle minder and the floss holder that came with it. Crochet your own Halloween coasters. We'll see if I get the courage up to try and teach myself to crochet again. I don't know if I will. Cross stitch kit. A whole box of washi tape. I'll give you an idea of some of them. There's spiders, black cats and pumpkins, skull and crosses, happy Halloween. I'm not going to go through all of them for you, but you get the idea. Really cool washi tapes. And then the piece that she made for me. Isn't that cute? Beautiful, it says, if you can't read that. And it's a little flamingo who's trying to be a ghost, but didn't quite get a big enough sheet. So it's adorable. I love it. I was super excited with all my gifts. Oh, and I got a bunch of candy too, but that's already all gone. So that was my secret spook. And then I got the haul that I actually paid for. So let's dive in. First is my most recent one. And it just came today from Forbidden Fiber Company. Me and my Forbidden Fiber Company ordering kits and stuff. They did a K-pop Demon Hunters set of colorways for yarn. So I got those. This is Soda Pop. And then this is Takedown. And I like them both very much. I saw them and I'm like, well, darn it, I have to get those. And then I also got the mystery cross stitch kit. So this is the project bag that it came in. Got fabric is blackboard. So that's the fabric. And then here is the kit. So it came with all of the colors that you need. Aren't those fun? We got the needle minder. So it's Derpy and Sussy. And then here is the pattern. So looks fun. It'll definitely get put towards the top of the to be worked on pile, because I love these when we use like the stained glass or the tie-dye on the Wicked one. Yeah, there it is. I just always love the effect of that. So, like I said, that's brand new. It was pre-ordered last month and it just came today. actually, you saw part of my haul earlier because when I was in the UK, I discovered that for Walk Fast Sampler, I had left one of my colors at home. Like the floss drop was there, but the floss was not. Hi, baby. So I had to order some more of that. And you know, if I'm ordering something, I'm not just going to order one skein of floss because you end up paying more for shipping than you do for the actual floss. So I got Splat, which was actually one of my things I got with that. And then also I got some more floss away bags because I was thinking I was going to need them because I was in the UK without my master set. And well, yeah, then now I don't need them. I put in a, well, before we talk about that, there are 2 local needlework stores. One's about 45 minutes from me, one's about an hour and a half from me. I've been to both of them because I'm bored. So I went to the Stitching Well in Bay City and I got myself some more gold-plated needles. And then I got this Mill Hill kit, Wipe Your Paws, Puppy Paws. I placed a 1, 2, 3 stitch order. One of the Christmas projects I'm going to work on, I was getting all set to start it, and I looked at it and it's like, oh, well, this is done completely in Classic Colorworks, and they're Classic Colorworks that I don't have. So I had to order these from 1, 2, 3 Stitch. And at the same time, I ordered the ornament that I'm going to make for my family Christmas. So this is Joyful Santa. And then for myself, Wolf Down the Rabbit Hole and I, and maybe Mad Morty, I don't remember if she said she is or not, are doing next year, trying to start a Christmas Mill Hill a month. So I ordered a couple of more Mill Hill Christmas kits. So I got the Snowman Vacation. And then I got Wales Santa to go with Scottish Santa that I already have. And I will need to be getting some more because I do not have enough Christmas Mill Hills to start one a month. Then I also went to the other local needlework store, local to me, and that is Stitches and Blooms in Alpena, Michigan. And I had a lot of fun there. I love that place. And then there's this little independent bookstore in the downtown area, and I can just go to Alpena and spend a day between those two. So Needle Minder, Life is Better in Flip-Flops. I got the Buttons and Beads Flamingos, Mill Hill. I got the Autumn Harvest Hot Cider from Mill Hill. And then I was super excited about this. I have forever and a day been looking for a cross stitch of Mackinac Bridge because as I'm redoing my house, and this room that I'm in is the Great Lakes room. So I kind of want stuff to do with, like, I've got a bunch of lighthouses I plan to work on, lighthouse kits that are lighthouses that are throughout the state of Michigan. I've got a Mackinac Bridge picture on the wall, but I really wanted a Mackinac Bridge stitch. And Meridian Designs came out with one. So there it is. This is the Mighty Mac. I was thinking I was going to have to chart this. I am so excited about this. This is probably going to be the next thing that I start because I'm just so excited about it. And I might have to see what the heck fabric they put it on, because isn't that cool with the gradient? So yeah, that was, like I said, and then I said I better stop, because if I stay here any longer, I'm going to buy a lot more things, and so I went home. All right. And then the last and greatest bit of haul that I got was my needlework. My needlework market stuff came after I left for the UK. So after my last Flosstube. So let's go through it, shall we? So first off, I've got the freebies pack. Oh, here is the little, this is what went with the needle minder that Morty gave me. This is the floss holder. So yeah, there's that. But I got a lot of stuff. So Erica Michaels needlepoint design. I got Nouns of Assembly for the Supernatural. So like a murder of crows, a colony of bats. I'll worry about putting them away later. You don't need to. The Christmas project I think I'm gonna work on, and the one I had to order the fabric or the floss for from 123 Stitch is Frosty the Vampire. So that's by Stitchy Pros. Got Barefoot Needle Art, Spooky Beacon of Frights. It's lighthouses and Halloween. From Lola Crow, one of the reasons I pulled out the Haunted Library that I showed you was I got the 2 companion pieces, Buried in Books and Storytime for Ghosts. I ordered another piece of Brain Fog from Mystic Fabrics that I will be big enough to do the 2 of these, so that eventually when I get the Haunted Library and these done, I can hang them all together and they will match. From the Outsy Housewife, I got Cozy. I just love that. It's tea and Halloween. See how all of these things keep coming together? For the Stitch Crypt, I got House of Book Dragons. Rebel Stitcher Design, Spite and Caffeine. Surviving on Spite and Caffeine. I think this might be my favorite of everything that I got, and this is another Lola Crow. This is Murder in the Pumpkin Patch. And then I really loved everything that Flossabilities put out this year, so this is Wisdom of a Witch. Trick or Treat Town. And Chalet in the Snow with the Northern Lights. from Erin Elizabeth Designs, I got Spells and Potions. For Annabella's Needle Art, I got A Gothic Halloween. From Yasmin's Made with Love, Gothic Bat. And then from the Primitive Hair, I got The Visit and Coven at the Beach. Whew. So that's a lot of haul. A lot of fun stuff to work on. I think sometimes the reason I have such a hard time sitting down to work is I have a hard time deciding what I'm going to work on next because I've got so many fun things. You know, what can you do? So, okay, so did I get all of it? Yes. Yes. Okay, life updates. So obviously I'm not in Wales anymore. I did go, I'll put a few pictures up here to prove that I went, and Mad Morty and Wolf Down the Rabbit Hole can both back me up that they both actually physically saw me and were in the same room with me. So yes, I did go to Wales. I started my program and it was a bunch of things. I was very unhappy with the way that the school was handling things. There was a significant problem with my program. And then anytime I was trying to get answers for anything else, to give you an example, there was one question that I asked through the channel that you're supposed to ask questions, the way they tell you to ask questions, and it took them 4 weeks to get me an answer. And that was the most extreme example, but it was not unusual for it to take a week and a half, 2 weeks for me to get an answer to a very basic question. And then there was the larger overall problem with the program, and that is basically that they changed the program over the summer. And the way they communicated that was to put a note into the online course portal. The problem with that is international students could not access the online course portal until they actually arrived in the UK, because you needed to show your passport and your admission to the UK stamp before you could register for classes. So basically, none of us knew until we got there. And then add on to the fact that, okay, height-wise, maybe it's not a mountain, but steepness-wise, the university is basically on the side of a super steep hill. And my living accommodations were kind of, they were in a bad spot. And I don't know if I've talked much about this or not, but I actually have arthritis in both my knees. So yeah, I dance and I do other things. And I'm fine as long as I don't have to go up and down stairs. Well, when you're living on the side of a mountain, guess what you have a lot of? So basically, I was having trouble physically, like making my way around campus, like doing much of anything. There was a period where I had 2 days of relative high activity, and then there were 2 days that I couldn't even leave my room because my knees were so bad that I couldn't, I couldn't do stairs, and so I couldn't go anywhere. So yeah, I made it about 6 weeks, and then I just decided that I couldn't tolerate it. And I struggled with I made it 6 weeks because I was really struggling with the decision. I didn't want to quit. and regret it. But honestly, the more I thought about it, I just didn't think I could handle it. So I came home. And here I am. And now that leads to part 2, and that is I came home 10 months early, so I don't have a job. I'm having a hard time. I'm hunting for a job, but I'm having a hard time finding one. So you'd think I'd be getting all kinds of stitching done because I don't have anything else to do. Except I think the problem is when you don't have anything else to do and you don't have a schedule, like I doom scroll and I look up and all of a sudden it's 2 or 3 or 4 in the afternoon and I haven't done anything yet. So yeah, I have not gotten nearly as much stitching or reading as I thought with unlimited time I would get around to. Hopefully it's going to get better. I'm trying to give myself a regimented day now, and that seems to help a little bit. I've been getting some more stuff done lately, but the final life update, as you might have heard me talking about making sure someone got their medicine, Maka's been pretty sick. She'd stayed with my brother and I went to go get her, and when I brought her home and like 2 or 3 days later she started coughing a little bit and I didn't think anything of it, and it got progressively worse. Took her to the vet. The vet said she's pretty much fine. Like obviously she's got some little viral something, but gave her a mild steroid and sent her home. And as soon as she was weaned off the steroid, it came back and it got worse. And part of it was, if you've been around long enough to remember Lexi, this was all feeling very much like what happened when I lost Lexi, and down to the point where I went to the vet. They said we can do an x-ray, but I don't think she needs it. So we didn't do it. And then she progressively got worse. And the good news is that she is fine. We did go back and do the x-rays, and it's just that it's a really stubborn virus and it's not letting go. So now she's on a stronger steroid, and hopefully that will clear it up. But we had a couple of very sleepless nights here because I thought I had a very sick dog. And it turned out I just had a dog with a slight cold that sounded really, really scary. So we're all here, we're adjusting, we're happy. The girls were happy to see me. I am happy to be home. I worried that I would come home and as soon as I got home I would regret that I didn't stay. There's none of that. This was definitely the right decision for me to make. I've been in touch with the orthopedic surgeon, and I am having arthroscopic knee surgery on February 5th. So hopefully I can get some of these knee issues resolved. And yeah, move on with my life. But definitely, I don't think it would have been a good idea for me to stay. So that's life here. I am hanging out at home, trying to find a job, and just hanging out. It would be a great time for me to start working on that needlework shop I want to open, except for the fact that, I don't have any money, so I can't really. I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do right now. But so, good thoughts, good vibes, whatever. I would appreciate them for me and for Coffee McCoff over there. And that's about it. Okay, books. Like I said, it's been, I had 2 major transatlantic flights. I had a lot of traveling that I did by train. I've gotten a lot of reading done. So we're gonna start in no particular order, just the order that I pulled them off the bookshelf. My most recent finish is A Most Agreeable Murder by Julia Seals, And I think all I'm going to do is kind of talk about the genre on these. I'm not going to give you too much plot, and then I'm going to give you my rating. So this was a cozy mystery. 3.5 stars. Discontent by Beatriz Serrano. This was just general fiction. This was 2 stars for me. I didn't like this at all. When the Moon Hatched, Sarah A. Parker, 5 stars. Romantasy. Dungeon Crawler Carl books 4 and 5, The Gate of the Feral Gods, The Butcher's Masquerade. I'm doing these on audio. I buy the trophies afterwards so that they're on my shelf. And then someday I may pick them up and read them, because my friend has told me that there are some fun little, I don't want to say Easter eggs, fun little features of the audiobooks, but then he said there are also fun little features in the written books that you don't get in the audio, so I might go back and read them at some point. But I think 4.5 stars, 4 stars. A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. This was a YA fantasy, YA bordering on young, I'd say closer to the young than the adult. This was it read very, very young, like it kind of reminded me of like a Harry Potter or something. For what it is, a 5. Lucy Foley, The Midnight Feast, thriller, 4 stars, 4 stars. The Trial of Lizzie Borden by Kara Robertson. This is nonfiction, legal proceedings, nonfiction, so by definition a little dry, 3.5 stars. The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. This was kind of a supernatural, cozy fiction. It's mostly a fiction, but it's got a supernatural element to it. 4.5 stars. Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. This is another thriller. 4 stars. Julie Clark, The Ghostwriter, another thriller, mystery thriller. I can't remember if I gave this 4.5 stars or 5 stars, but it was very good. The Retirement Plan by Sue Hinsenbergs. This is kind of like a cozy mystery, I think is what it was supposed to be. Kind of like a humor mystery, dark humor. 3.5 stars. I feel like the description of the plot isn't really what the book was. I mean, it was kind of, sort of, but it was, I don't know. It wasn't what I wanted it to be. The House of My Mother, A Daughter's Quest for Freedom by Sherry Frankie. This is the daughter of Ruby Frankie, the influencer who was arrested for child abuse. The parenting advice social media influencer who was arrested for child abuse. I gave this one a 3.5 stars. It might have gone up towards 4. Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. This is a YA romantasy, dark academia setting. 5 stars. Read this book. Forget Me Not, Stacey Willingham. Mystery thriller, 4 stars. Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang, Kylie Lee Baker. This is a horror novel, 2.5 to 3 stars. And that's mostly because this is not my genre. This is not my jam. And then The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman, book 2 in the Thursday Murder Club series. And 4 stars. So there you go. Those are all the books I have read since the last time I spoke to you. I've got a couple that are pretty close to done, so I will definitely have more for you next time. And hopefully I won't have so many that I will actually be able to talk about them more than just give you the titles and a rating for them. But anyway, I have kept you long enough. I've kept myself from my dinner long enough. I can smell it over there. So I'm going to go. Again, I'm hoping for another video in the next 2 to 4 weeks, hopefully with some news about job. But anyway, until then, stay safe, stay healthy. See you next time. Bye.